I'm really fascinated in this whole Kadarius Toney thing. I was so high on him coming out of the draft. I was convinced he was going to be maybe not the next Tyreek Hill, but pretty close to it. Then he gets drafted by the Giants and basically accomplishes nothing in his time there outside of one very good game. And even in that game, he ended up getting thrown out for throwing a punch. So weird stuff there. He gets traded for not peanuts, but not very much, to the Chiefs. But first game in, he's making some plays. So let's talk about what he's doing, and is there a chance he could kind of revitalize in that, I guess not really revitalize that career, but live up to his potential? Well, let's start off with this play. Going to be easier if you can set up plays like this for him, where he's in motion towards the bottom of the screen. This is part of why motion can work so well, is against zone coverage that the Jaguars are in. Sometimes you just lose guys, and that's what's going to happen here. Is, you're prepared for the two eligible receivers lined up on your side of the field. When a third eligible receiver gets there, you're kind of just not prepared for it. Watch Mahomes take the snap, and I mean, you're going to see just nobody picks up Kadarius Toney. So, okay, hey, that makes things easy, right? Mahomes makes this throw. I have to say, Toney, you had enough room there. You didn't have to tight rope walk towards the end zone there. You could have just walked in had you just, been maybe a little bit more aware of where you were. But as a whole, hey, you scored a touchdown. I shouldn't be that critical of you. This isn't like some amazing play by Kadarius Toney or anything like that. But hey, part of the advantage of playing for Andy Reid is you'll have some of those easy plays. But also, like, something like this is that one of the other advantages of playing for Andy Reid is that he'll put you in position to succeed, and that's what's going to happen here. This is going to be an end around to Kadarius Toney, so you're running him in a jet sweep motion. You're going to have Patrick Mahomes hand the ball off to him. I've highlighted one Jacksonville player, the guy who I've circled in white, as he is unblocked on this play. The whole idea is that Toney is explosive enough, he can just run right by him at the line. If that doesn't work, you're losing yards. However, as you see, not only does it works like an absolute charm. Kadarius Toney runs directly by him. So now, I always like to play this game of look what you think can happen. Because, I mean, again, for maybe a slower receiver, there's a chance they could get tackled right now. There's a Jacksonville player right near him. However, watch Toney really get as many yards as he possibly could have on that play. The guy is so good with the ball in his hands. The fact that Kansas City's kind of just saying, let's just put the ball in his hands sometimes, is so simple, but it does make me wonder why the Giants didn't do this stuff. And this is just the thing about Toney, right? Is every time I watch him play and watch a team put the ball in his hands, he looks electric with the football. Like, there's no better example of this stuff than this play, where I love this play. This play, in my head, this should be like just one of the most difficult plays to stop, which is this situation where already it's a fine play. It's a concept a lot of teams do. You have kind of three receivers who are eventually going to be going towards the offense's right, one kind of running shallow, one running sort of medium, and one running deep. The idea is that the safety typically takes the deep guy, and then you have a linebacker who either takes the shallow guy or the middle guy. If he takes the middle guy, you throw it shallow. If he takes the shallow guy, you throw it middle. If the safety comes in over the middle, then you throw it deep. That kind of stuff. The wrinkle on this play that the Chiefs have is that Kadarius Toney is the guy who's running the shortest route. And why is that important? Well, you're about to see. Mahomes takes a snap, and this is, I would say, good defense here by Jacksonville, because what they did was they forced Mahomes to throw to the shallow route. That's what you want to have happen in that scenario. Mahomes didn't even really look. He just threw it straight to Kadarius Toney once he saw the setup. So right off the bat, this is what you wanted to have happen. So I think that's the important note to know at this point, is that this was the ideal defense for Jacksonville. That's not always going to happen. Guys are going to get open down the field in different plays, but in this scenario where that doesn't happen, well, here's what you can do is you now have Kadarius Toney with the ball in open space. You might be saying, well, who cares? There's a player right about to tackle him. Well, no, Kadarius Toney makes the guy miss and keeps running up the field. Okay, great. He made the guy miss. He got a first down. That's a good play, but how great of a play is it? Well, watch Toney make a couple more Jaguars players miss, and he's able to pick up as many yards as possible. And again, this is just the kind of stuff where it's like, part of me does feel stupid for how high on Kadarius Toney I was out of the draft. I had him as my favorite wide receiver, which feels like an awful take now with how good Jalen Waddle and Jamar Chase were. And certainly, even at the time, maybe wasn't a very smart take in hindsight. But I also watched this guy, and I watched these plays, and I'm like, why isn't this guy more consistently successful? He should be. It seems like when he's on the field, he's been successful. So maybe he will be. I don't know. Or maybe he'll go back to we won't hear from him for another 2 months kind of thing. Something like this is, again, it's exciting. I think it's interesting where the play itself isn't going to go for anything. But what's notable is you see Kadarius Toney lined up on the outside. Mahomes is going to just flip it over there. There was some space, and Mahomes said, hey, let's just see what happens. Jaguar player came up, made a good tackle. Okay, that happens. You weren't able to get... Yes, it's not like Kadarius Toney, every time he has the ball, makes everyone miss. No, he does get tackled sometimes. But clearly, Kansas City is kind of almost saying, hey, we have this new toy. Let's see what it does. Let's see what he can do. And in some areas, it really worked out for them. And that's what I think is interesting is, without a doubt, there's, he can fill a specific role in the offense. I don't think anyone else on this current roster can. And not to mention this play. I mean, this was a great play where it's going to be it's cover 6. So Toney's route is going to essentially be a one-on-one matchup deep down the field. Watch how Patrick Mahomes takes a snap, runs a play action, looks down the field. I mean, you see the defensive back, due to the zone coverage, is able to kind of play a little bit off Toney. Again, Toney has this great acceleration. You want to make sure that you do not get burned deep by him, so makes some sense. But watch the defensive back come up. He creates some pressure, but at this point, his back is turned. Toney can adjust to the ball. The defensive back cannot. And one of the things that I was always very impressed with Toney is his ability to make plays on the football. Watch him go up, and he is going to be able to make a very tough catch on that one. I mean, this is just, again, this is highlight reel level stuff that he does. I mean, the guy gets highlight reel level plays so consistency. That's what makes him so exciting and so electric at times. And it really just does make you wonder, I think it's fair to ask the question, is it possible the Giants just did not know how to use this guy? The Chiefs do know how to use this guy. That's why they paid a little bit more than I think people thought his price would be worth. I mean, if a team's giving up on a first-round pick already, usually that goes for like nothing. They were still willing to give up a third-round pick, and it feels like part of it is Andy Reid had some ideas in how to use him, and I think we're seeing some of those ideas. I also think we're just seeing him play good football. I mean, like, that play is just a legitimately really good football play. So does this mean that Kadarius Toney is back? Kadarius Toney is awesome and he's going to be a star player in this league? Of course not. I mean, it's way too small of a sample size to make any big, thoughts on this one game. I mean, how can you really say anything? You can definitely talk yourself into it if you're a Chiefs fan. You can definitely say, no, see, here's the thing about Kadarius Toney, is he's going to come in, and this is just him in the first week. He's going to get better and better every week. By the time the season is over, he's going to look like Tyreek Hill 2.0. Okay, you can talk yourself into that. That's obviously best case scenario, but it's also possible that he just made a couple good plays. And listen, Kadarius Toney, people have said a lot of things about him. One thing you can't say about him is he's incapable of making highlight reel level plays. He's certainly capable of doing that. The question is just how consistently will it happen? Will it continue? And that I don't know. I legitimately don't know, but I'm very excited to watch the rest of, this season with Toney and see if he can, make number 19 work a lot better than he made 89 work. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.